And we're back. So anyway, people will pick it up. So
I didn't mean to leave, guys. I'm so sorry. I'll never leave the show again.
People will pick it up.
So I don't even think it's gonna. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So it gets that discussion. Karen is a Boy Scout leader, and I think I used to be more like, well, why would you have a woman doing the Boy Scouts? That's what But she's a good example to me of why they should. Like, she's using her skills and you know, contributing, and so I think that's a perfect place for her to be with her skill set. But I do think you still need separation with the boys and the girls, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. So
I'm okay with that, but I'm also okay with doing some group activities that neither are comfortable doing. Maybe that they swap off sessions where they have expertise. And
I think that'd be perfect.
You know, what's wrong with that? The respect and the responsibility. But I love the idea about the sponsors. You know, to try and get
no, you didn't miss anything, Dan. It just shut down.
So I don't. Anybody that watches us on YouTube, I don't know if it saved the first part. So
we'll see.
It was a great discussion too. I want to cry.
So anyway, we'll figure it out.
Well, now we're going to record the best part.
Okay.
And that's Sally talking about herself. So
yes. So the main reason we.
Oh wait! Look at that.
There we go.
It's there. Yeah, it's there.
It's still. Is it still going? I think it was still going.
That's where it is.
And it stops.
That's right.
All right.
Now we're there again.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah,
we're back.
Let's
Luke is back.
Rory, and let's turn this just a tad.
There we go.
So I don't have to lean so hard. Yeah, the main reason we had Sally here, outside of the outstanding conversation, is Sally's an accomplished author, and we were checking her out this morning. Actually, I was doing some reviews, and your book, right?
So
I love this.
The Hitman's Mistake.
Look at that, you guys.
Thank you to my husband for getting that.
I love it.
So I write clean, which means no intimate scenes. I write kind of slow-burning romance into edgy suspense. And my books try to encourage mainly women readers to trust their inner gifts and to trust more than that, your instincts. And for your daughters and your sons, there's a book by Gavin de Becker called The Gift of Fear. And unless you live in a bubble, everybody should read that book. It's about trusting your instincts.
Gavin de Becker?
Gavin de Becker, The Gift of Fear. And I think we all need to trust our instincts. But I love to write. I actually had a son that was having a hard time in high school. You know, you talk about having a son that went through some things. And I wrote the book at night trying to go to sleep. So when I quit one job and I wrote it in about 5 days. And then I let it sit for a while. And then I started going to these RWA conferences, and I met a critique partner, and I'm traditionally published, but it's a very supportive group.
Well,
and amazing.
If we could, one more time.
No, I love this. Your husband, I don't know if your husband jumped back on here, but this is why I really like your husband, even though he said go dogs. This is the book right here. What do you guys notice? On the Facebook Live with Android, all you Apple users out there, be nice to me. We can't flip the screen. So Sally's husband said, okay, I'll print it backwards.
A mirror image.
So it shows up correctly.
Yeah.
So that is having a skill set. I said to Brian, when Kathy did her book, it was backwards. Can you print me a reverse one? And
brilliant.
He's like, why? And I'm like, well, I'm sure that they have figured out that they can't flip the screen, and so he is a functional and functioning engineer. And
you need to send him down to Olympia.
You do. He's very bright.
Well, I love that you say
I'm a backwards guy.
What did you say?
I'm a backwards guy. I love that you got a critique partner. You said that. That's awesome. So I remember doing that in college when we were doing our writing. It's a critique partner, sort of the writer circle is so important. But if I could, because doing my research this morning, I'd like to read a review of Sally's book that is on Amazon. You can find this review on Amazon. You can find the book.
You want us to like snap like a beatnik club or something?
No, not at all. Not at all. But this just so 5-star review. Sally Brandle's ability to inspire intrigue, attraction, and raise her taut tension is spot on. From the bustle of Seattle to the wild beauty of Montana, each scene is so vivid one can almost smell the saddle leather, the crisp mountain air, and the slow simmering attraction between two people whose lives and future dreams couldn't be more different. Highly recommended romantic suspense from an author who knows her craft and left the promise of more great reading to come. High praise! High praise!
And I did not know that person. That's a professional reviewer, so thank you.
That was Kathy who wrote it, wasn't it? Yeah,
CW.
I mean, that's huge. That's huge. And all these, if you go on Amazon, please do get out there and check out Sally's Amazon page. Just the reviews and the awards. Winner of the 2014 Emerald City Opener in Romantic Suspense. I mean, just...
Thank you.
Yeah, they're coming. That's awesome. So
But
that's so good for you.
I want you to know it took me 8 years to get to that point. I kept revising it, and I kept writing. So I've written 8.5 books, and I have one published, one in the pipeline that comes out in January, and another one they're looking at contracting. But don't give up. Just in anything that you do, keep getting better at what you do, and mentor those under you, because when you teach, you learn.
Absolutely.
That's a huge part of.
Now, are your books a series?
Yes. I have 2 different series. So this is the first series. It's about a small town in Montana is the book, but it's not about cowboys. So, and then the second series has kind of a science twist where I have a solar power zealot and WISP, wireless internet service protector. Thanks, Kathy. So I have a second series that I'll roll out at some point, and right now I'm traditionally published, and Kathy's a hybrid, which means she's got a traditional publisher and she publishes independently.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look at doing that. But at my age, I wanted to go with a traditional publisher because I needed a built-in audience.
Yep.
And if I were 30 years younger, I probably would have just traditionally published. But there's a lot of work. And if you have questions, if you can put my website up, I'm happy to answer them. I have tons of information on the craft aspect, and I do write a column monthly in writer-writer.com. So
yeah, definitely. So your website is sallybrandle.com.
Got it.
And I'm sure Kathy's still listening, so maybe Kathy can type it in, because I won't be able to type it until later.
The other thing is too, and you can probably attest to this, is for writers out there. The great thing about writing is that you're never too old to start.
Absolutely.
And, actually, one of my professors in college, she had a New York Times best-selling book, and she was listed to the 535 whatever best writers. And I had talked to her. I said, "Yeah, but you had so much success at a young age." And she said, "I'm an anomaly." She said, "Writers in general don't start getting noticed until they've had more experience, and they've really, Donald Ray Pollock is a perfect example. He's one of my favorite authors out of Ohio. He didn't publish his first book until he was 56, 57, and now he's got like 3 or 4.
I was 60.
There you go. See, so I mean, don't quit on it. If you like writing, there we go, sallybrandle.com.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hubs, and and reach out to Sally. I mean, obviously, a wealth of knowledge and what it takes, and
I'll come
that never quit mentality.
I was asked if I would come to local book clubs. I'd like to do more library things and book clubs, and I want to volunteer at the YWCA to teach, because I think it's very important that we pass on what we know. So,
your hand motions are spot on this morning, Luke. Talking with my hands.
We all have stories to tell.
Where do you get your inspiration from? Is it from life experiences?
I write a lot of. Okay, so there are bad guys.
Were you a CIA assassin that we don't know
No,
about?
but I've talked to FBI agents.
Okay.
I love to research. The first thing I did on Writer was about research. If you don't know about it, you better research it, because you do not want an FBI agent reading your book and throwing it against the wall.
Right.
So I've talked to FBI agents. I've talked to weather people in Texas. I've talked to Ducks Unlimited in Montana. And
nice.
I always ask, do you have the time? I'm a writer, and boy, they will just give you whatever you need. And I email people, but I was a salesperson for 35 years. I'm a phone, in person, and don't be afraid to ask to get clarity on what you're putting in those books. So I do a ton of research, and I have wonderful beta readers, Ken and Lynette, my favorite buddies. And I was writing this one. There's a elk. He's like, Sally, and elk would be more like 600 pounds. I'm like, okay, an elk cow. Because I have beta readers that help me out too, but we all have to help each other, and that's a big part of it. So
I would imagine that you're a voracious reader.
I love to read.
That's
different things.
Before I graduated at PLU, Melinda Moustakis, the author I was telling you about, that's one thing she told me. She's like, because I read a lot, she's like, great writers love to read. That's just the way it is. You have to constantly be honing, and it helps you improve without you even realizing it.
Well, and then you get pickier. But how this all started, we were down at my brother's place in Costa Rica, and in the afternoons when it's 102 out, you're laying in the hammock, and I buzzed through like 9 romance novels from the local tavern. Had a trade out type book shelf. And I finally said to my husband, I'm sorry, I can write this well. And he's like, well, then do it. So
that's great that he's
Brian
so
is the one
supportive,
who
too.
challenged, and he does my website, and he's a wonderful, my whole family is
Outside of the whole
wonderfully
husky
supportive.
thing, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And we have a cougars. We got a husky and a cougar. So
A house divided.
a house divided, but we all get along.
There you go. Yeah,
Trying to
that's
get
the important
along.
thing. That's the important
Oh,
thing.
Let's see.
Thanks, Kathy.
Let's know why you guys get along after Friday, November 23rd.
They are not diehard fans, so that makes it quite.
Okay.
They're not like you two, you know. They're not wearing their.
Oh, this guy's the worst. Like, I'm a big Coug
Actually,
fan.
Neil is wearing his jacket.
So I
all
went to
the time.
PLU. So my mom she's a Coug alumni. So that's why I grew up a Coug. You know,
And we had neighbors that were.
huge fan. But this guy, you can't take him anywhere. Like, I feel like I'm taking What About Bob some places. Like driving down the street, and he's hanging out the window like if someone's got Cougar gear on. Go Cougs! Huskies suck! Will you calm down? We're gonna get arrested. They're gonna think I broke you out of Western State.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't judge people based off of, when I first meet them or anything like that. Unless they're wearing husky gear.
Yeah.
Then at that point, I'm like, yeah, you're not that good. You're not that
Well,
good of a person.
you cannot judge people in your business because I learned.
Oh, I do.
I learned very early on some of the people
why we're going
with
under.
the most influence are the most unassuming ones out there.
Yeah.
So at trade shows, those people coming through without tags that were down dressed. You know, if I was showing people in a little mini demo how to make a palmier, I played to everybody.
Yeah,
And
you never know.
that is the only way that you will be successful.
When I first got into real estate, I had a guy 10 years ago. I had a guy that was referred to me, and I said, "Yeah, I'll help him out." Right? So I'm new in the business, and I'm all excited. I meet this guy, and I made that mistake where I kind of was judging him, at the beginning, and I thought, "Oh my gosh!" And he told me, he says, "I'm looking for a house under 250,000, and this and this," and I'm like, and then I meet him, and he's like, kind of all scrubby, and and he's a little bit of an older guy, and I went to his rental house. It was kind of run down, and I'm like, I'm like, okay. He really held things close to his vest, and finally, I was kind of like, this guy can't, and I was sure, and I got an approval letter for him, and I finally called the lender one day, and I said, hey, this guy John, right? I'm like, what's the deal, man? Can he afford that? Where are we at? And he goes, he's like, dude, that guy could buy the Columbia Tower if he wanted to. And I'm like, what? And it turns out that John, he had done like 28 years in the Army and retired, so he was getting a pension there.
Right.
He did 20 years working for the state and was getting a pension there. And then, and he was in his 70s at this point, and he was in great health, and he just wanted to buy a house. And then he was still working another job inside the school district, so he had money there. He'd done a bunch of investing. He goes, he's got a ton out there in investment accounts he's in touch, and into his bank account every month he gets $14,000 to $16,000.
Whoa.
Just coming in, and this was 9-10 years ago even. And so I was like, oh my gosh. He's like, yeah, just show him whatever. Like if he ends up changing his mind, wanting to buy a $500,000 house, whatever, just show it to him. He can afford it. It's no big deal. And I'm like. And I told John after that, after we got them all, I was like, you. Anybody came, he's like, dude, I came from nothing in the South. I've never needed much. It's not a big deal. I've been smart with my money, so I don't have to worry about it. He's like, but at the heart of it, I like Carhartts and working on cars in the backyard.
But in general in life, don't judge.
Yeah.
Unless you've walked in a person's shoes,
Yep.
don't
Yeah.
judge.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. It was a lesson for me. Even I was 29 at the time, I guess. And it was 28, 29. It was a good lesson. It was just a good reminder.
People watching now. Hi, all you.
It was a good reminder.
Hey, Michelle, good to see you, Drew.
So what have you learned from? How long have you been in real estate?
I've been in real estate since 2014, so I've been a little over 4 years.
And you?
Almost 10 years. Yeah, almost 10 years. So.
And one thing I've learned is that communication is key.
Oh, absolutely.
On both sides.
like a marriage.
I have a buyer's presentation that I basically created from scratch based off of my first year in real estate, because I realized when my clients had questions, I forgot to tell them about that part of the process. So now I have an actual presentation that I will go through and show people, and I'll tell them at the very end of the presentation, I'll say, you're going to forget like 90% of this. Just know that I'll be with you every step of the way, and that when I mention something, you're going to be like, oh, that's right, we did talk about that. Because I had too many things happen where I felt bad, because I don't like letting people down.
Absolutely.
And when those things came up, I even had an instance where I screwed up on a date. because I thought I was being aggressive on our offer, and I put a 1-day return.
I thought you meant like on a date.
No.
I
haven't
assumed it
been
was real estate.
Yeah. I was catching it in the corner of my ear because I was responding to something.
I haven't been on a non-married date in over 21
Well, that's
years.
why I was going to text Christy and be like, what did he do?
Anyhow, you screwed up on
but I screwed up on a
closing
date.
date or something. Yes.
And it was a responding to an inspection response. And I was trying to be aggressive with our offer. The problem was I calculated the date wrong, and if I did not get that response back over in time, $3,000 worth of work that the seller said they were going to do could possibly just be washed away because I screwed up. And so, wouldn't you know it, I couldn't get the computer electronic signature to work. So I had to hustle over to where they're staying at, and I explained to them, I said, I'm gonna try and send this over. I'm gonna try and hopefully everything's gonna go well, but I just want you to know, I screwed this up. And so if they won't accept it,
You took responsibility. Wow.
I said I will take care of the $3,000. I will take care of it because this is on me. This is not your guys' fault. And fortunately, everything worked out, and they closed. They loved the place.
But they knew they could trust you.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to take a $3,000 hit, but it's the right thing to do.
So there's this thing called the 4 agreements. It's speak the truth, communicate, don't take anything personally, and do your best.
Yep.
And you know, if we all looked at those each morning when we got up, life would be wonderful. Because we do assume, we don't communicate well, we take things personally, and that's when problems are caused.
Yep, totally agreed. So that's what I've learned, is I've learned to communicate a lot better with
And
clients.
taking responsibility is huge. If I screw up, I'll go, hey, I screwed up. And there are people that just won't do that.
And I teach my kids the same thing. I'm like, you're gonna run across things in life where it's gonna hurt to take responsibility, but you're gonna learn a life lesson, and people are gonna trust you more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what about you? What have you learned?
Oh, so much. So much. We just talked about what I learned, right? Or the gentle reminder to not judge people. What have I learned in real estate in 10 years? Honestly,
Liz! So that lady right there, Liz Totten,
yeah.
she set my foundation for real estate.
Nice.
I will never stop touting Liz Totten.
Gotcha.
Talk, talk. That could be a campaign slogan.
I don't think Liz wants to have anything to do with politics. And that makes her a smart woman.
Where were we at? I was going to tell you what I've learned.
What you learn?
I don't know, I mean, it's so many things, honestly, and I feel like I learned something on every, I feel like I learned something on every deal. I said this last week about a deal with a buyer and a seller, and it's just, I think that one of the biggest things I'm constantly reminded of is that, and I don't want to say money corrupts, but money causes people to not think straight, and that's a big thing. And I have people say to me all the time that they're not being reasonable, and the biggest thing, we've had this discussion because we've had clients and they're like, well, yeah, but if I don't sell it for this much, then that's $10,000 in my pocket. And I'm like, it's not $10,000 in my pocket. You're hypothetically spending money you don't have right now.
Right.
We need to take the best thing for you. And when people start talking money, they definitely get their head out of whack. And I think that's my biggest thing is like, even some of my closest friends that I've helped buy houses and stuff, when you start talking about money, it gets weird. And people kind of lose their marbles.
And it's tough because sometimes you get people that will look on Zillow, or they'll have somebody tell them, oh, I think your house is worth this much.
Everyone's an expert.
But then when it comes time to actually put the house on the market, even in a seller's market, the market's going to tell you what your house is worth. And sometimes you'll have people that they'll have dollar signs in their head. And so if the price has to come down, they've already spent that money in their head. And so when the price has to come down, in order to get people to put an offer in on it, they get frustrated. And that's a problem. It's like the market is telling you what your house is worth.
Well, and it's such a personal thing that if you painted your rooms dark purple, and you expect that
ugly color, by the way.
People can. Oh, sorry.
Here we go.
Dark orange.
Perfect.
And you expect that people can walk in and get a visual. We had a real estate agent, Bill Fulmer, a wonderful man, and he would come in and go, throw away the dead plant. I mean, we bought and sold several houses with him, and He was honest, and we wanted to get the most money we could and make it palatable to people walking in the door.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to put your emotion behind you. This is a business thing. You are trying to make money, so you have to think like a business person and trust the experts.
Right.
That's another thing. My husband and I have always hired people to do things that we are not expert at.
Right.
And we're willing
Yeah.
to pay the money to have their expertise.
Yeah.
And a lot of people try and do everything themselves, and that doesn't always go well.
Yeah, what you said earlier, that was funny because, like the listen we had pop up last week, I remember sitting down and specifically telling them as we started, I said, whatever I say, don't take it personal. Because when I was younger in real estate, I was always kind of concerned about, oh, how do I phrase this the right way? And I've gotten to a point where I'm like, my job is to sell your house as quick as I can for the most money I can.
How do we do
And
that?
I mean, sometimes it's going to be brutal honesty. This clutter needs moved.
Yeah.
This needs cleaned. This needs to be done. And I always try to tell people, I'm like, don't take it personal. People get, they get, like, look, if you walked into my house right now, it's nowhere near show ready. I would have to tell myself the same thing. This clutter needs to move, or this needs to be dialed in. And that, you can't dance around things.
You're selling to somebody else's lifestyle, and you need to make it generic.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yep.
And you may think the baby's room looks beautiful with its ugly
Yeah.
colors and its wallpaper and everything.
But you might have a cougar there who doesn't like purple.
Yep.
So,
oh yeah.
or babies.
What?
baby
That's
with cougars?
sacrilegious.
so
All right, well, I guess
All
we
right.
should get this baby wrapped up.
Yeah.
We've been going for an hour
while.
and 20 minutes, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We love it when shows do this because when we first started, we would do shows where we're like, oh, what are we going to talk about? And so we'd be done really quick. And
Give me more coffee.
yeah, I know.
yeah.
Be here all day. Like the
So-
Today Show, 3 hours.
So a couple of things we want to share with you guys real quick. First thing is we did a lunch and learn yesterday for EXP Realty, and it went great. We had 5 agents stop by, and
4 of them have reached out since and
Yeah.
are excited to join EXP.
yeah, they're excited about the opportunity.
Yeah.
Purple good.
Sorry.
Sorry, Sally, I'm going to have to unfriend you now.
He doesn't have a Facebook account.
But yeah, it was. We held it over at Envoy Mortgage, and we did a lunch and learn, and a great presentation. Like you said, 4 out of 5 of them have already reached out to us and said, you know what, we're ready to change
And
brokerages.
they're with other agencies now.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
got it.
And they've seen the opportunity, and that's the biggest thing is.
This goes into our whole thing we were talking about earlier. If you have a gift, to share it, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. And with EXP, when we got into it, I literally thought to myself, like, we can't keep this to ourselves. What's going on? Especially knowing, being in the game as long as I've been in the game, knowing sometimes that there's struggles and all that, like, how can I help other people that I know, that I've done business with, that I respect, that I appreciate? How can I help them further their career, better stabilize their family and their income? And it's a really good feeling to see other people get it and see what's going on in the revolution in the industry. So
And I think the
it's
biggest
so exciting.
takeaway that they
So
took
exciting.
from the presentation yesterday was what EXP Realty is the next Netflix, the next Uber, the next Amazon, because we're seeing our society going to more of a digital
Absolutely.
footprint. And we'll take millennials, for example. Millennials are more likely to fill out an application online. They're more likely to look at a video walkthrough of a house. They're more likely to do all these things before they go meet with an agent.
Absolutely. They
And-
don't want to go driving around with
Right.
a list.
Right, exactly.
That's
And so
technology.
that's what EXP is they're forward-thinking technology, and there's other brokerages out there that are holding strong, holding tight to the old way, the old model, the brick and mortar, coming to our office.
My guard is moving out. The millennials have the money and are moving in, so
Yep.
we got to
Yeah.
figure that out. We're going into retirement homes.
Yep. And the thing is with there's low overhead compared to because I used to be at a big box brokerage. Luke used to be at a big box brokerage. We both worked at a
Yes, I was.
more of a boutique brokerage. So we've been both sides of it, but to see what EXP is offering for the future, we were silly not to jump on board. And that's why we do these lunch and learns. We want to share that with other people and say, hey, before you get left behind, take a look at this.
Well, when I was speaking to him yesterday, I said, in my introduction for Greg, I told people, I said, the way I finally looked at it, I said, worst case scenario, I put a new name on my business card and continue doing what I've already been doing, selling real estate.
Right.
Best case scenario, I continue selling real estate, and I also have other ways of earning income and making things easier, and it's been best case scenario. Within a month, best case scenario. And so, what do you have to lose? So, Yeah, we have more coming down the line. There's going to be another one.
I think in 2 weeks.
Day before Thanksgiving, and then the week after on Wednesday. We'd love to get you there if you're just curious. You're just kicking the tires. And I can tell you this: I was not, and Rory was not. We were not looking to go anywhere. We were happy where we're at. This isn't a plea to you guys like, hey, your broker just is terrible and miserable. It's really just, hey, I think you owe it to yourself as a hard.
We were talking about you, yes.
Yes, as a hardworking agent to look at something and see if it's for you, because we were happy where we were at.
Every industry is changing, and you need to rock with it.
Yeah. So. I mean, you always got to be willing to move and adapt. So
yeah. And the nice thing I think Luke will agree with me. The nice thing I like about EXP, other than all the things that you said, is our office is different. So like Monday, my office was at Starbucks in Sumner, and then Forelli's in Sumner, and then in the afternoon, my office was with Luke over at Downtown Anthem, or Downtown Brew.
When you say that, do you meet clients?
We'll meet clients at Starbucks. Yep, we can do that.
Or their house.
Or their house, right? Okay.
But if we're working,
before we started doing this morning, I was answering a couple of emails, and the thing is that I don't need to go into a brick and mortar. Even when I worked at the 2 other places I was at before, I really didn't go in there much because I just had my own way of doing things. And so I like that flexibility too.
The tools are wherever we are.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Again, thank you, Megan Wentland, for hosting us. Megan was a great host. She's a loan officer over at Envoy Mortgage. Love Megan. She does wonderful things for our clients, and just so happy to be partners with her. So yeah, we're looking again in 2 weeks, the day before Thanksgiving. Nicole and anybody else will send out more information, so you will get that invite. One other thing I want to share with our buyer's agent, our partner in crime, Kevin Barquest. He's actually doing a Facebook Live today at 5 p.m. He's going to talk about his new adventure joining us in EXP.
So are you two sellers agents, or do you do both sides?
We do both.
We do both right now.
Okay.
But yeah,
we have a new buyer's agent. We're helping him to grow his business, and so we're trying to pass off leads to him that we would use to work more on.
And Kevin's a great story because he's an insurance agent, so he wasn't necessarily looking to do something else. And he's still an insurance agent.
He saw an opportunity.
But yeah, he saw the opportunity, and let me tell you, this guy, he got his 90 clock hours done and passed his state exam in 1 month. That's how determined he was.
I need to tell my son.
Yeah, he flew through it. It was crazy. It was crazy.
But yeah, and I mean, I can email you something you can give to your son that gives more information about EXP. But I wish I would have gotten into EXP sooner. Yeah. So, anyways, about Kevin. Let's get back to Kevin. Not Kevin Fleming, but Kevin Barquest. Good to see you, Kevin, by the way. So he's going to do a Facebook Live at 5 p.m. today. Check Kevin out, see what he's got to share about his experience so far. And then today, join myself and Anthony Briggs at 4 p.m. because normally we do our football show, our football Facebook Live show. We do that on Tuesdays, but we had things come up on Tuesday. We both couldn't do it. So we're going to do a Thursday show. And
today's Thursday.
I know.
You're doing it today?
At 4 p.m. Are you paying attention to my announcements?
I will say this. Don't go past 5.
No.
Don't make people... Well, you guys have a tendency to be on there for 2.5 hours.
No, this is why I'm not going to go past 5.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just saying, make sure for Kevin's sake, poor guy.
I already promised Kevin we'd get done by 5. So
he's like, I planned it first.
Yeah. And then very last thing is happy birthday, Patty Waldron.
Yay!
Patty Waldron is turning 21 for I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
But we're gonna.
Months.
Yep.
Young at heart.
Patty is a wonderful lady. I mean, she's just. I don't even know what to say. She's just an amazing woman. Growing up out in Belfair, her and her husband Al have wonderful kids. They've all their kids are grown up to be great people in society, and just I love them so much.
Salt of the earth.
Paul, I agree. Huskies are on a bye, so we don't have to talk about Huskies that much this week. Thank goodness. But yeah, happy birthday, Patty.
Happy birthday, Paul MacArthur. He turned 40 on Sunday.
He turned 40?
Yeah.
Holy cow! You
Yeah.
guys are getting old, youngsters.
Your children.
Oh, man.
Little children.
So, with that said, we will let you have the final word. Is there anything that you would like to promote? Anything you've got going on? That book right there.
I have a book now and a book coming out in January. And
What's the name of the book in January?
Torn by Vengeance.
Oh.
They're all romantic suspense, and there's a lot of suspense. So thank you, and yeah, let me know. And if you don't like my book, I will double your money back to the charity of your choice. So there.
Wow.
Guarantee.
Heck of a promise.
Guarantee.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much, Sally.
Thank you.
This was a lot of fun.
This was
Absolutely.
fun.
Lots of
My new
fun.
best
Yay.
coffee buddies. Yay.
And we got to thank Kathy, because without Kathy doing the Facebook Live show in August,
I wouldn't be here.
you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
all right,
We're hitting the romantic novel circuit, man. We're ready to go.
Apparently so.
Yeah,
I
love
guess
it.
we should want to tell everybody where we're going to be next week.
Oh yeah. For all of you who see this, because I know most of them don't hang around the last 2 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
We actually have some
There's two
big
people
things coming
left.
up. I'm actually going to promote the next couple weeks. So we'll be taking Thanksgiving off in 2 weeks. But next Thursday we will be live from Heritage Distillery in Gig Harbor with our good friend and special guest TJ Face. He's the sales director for Heritage Distillery. So excited. I don't know if we're going to do whiskey tasting, but if he wants us to come, he might want to set that up. So we're pretty excited about that. Yeah. And then in 3 weeks, we're going to be at All Star Tattoo on 6th Avenue with owner of the shop, Joey Eisenbarger, who we actually grew up with in our small town. He's a faithful fan of ours, always jumping in and singing our praises. We love him to death. So we're going to go in there and who knows, we might do some live tattooing on Rory. So that'll be the last Thursday of the month. So be sure to tune in next week when we're live from Gig Harbor, Washington, Heritage Distillery, and we'll be doing some shotskis.
Hot toddies, I guess.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Sally.
Yes.
Please check her page out. Check her Amazon page out. Her work is highly reviewed. So and it's clean, family friendly. So
nice
check
is
it out.
All right, thanks you guys. Take care.
Take care.
Have a great weekend.
Be well. Bye bye.
And go Cougs.